Mr. Bagabon's comment just on the DREAMS material that's been referenced from your perspective. Then we're going to go immediately back to you. You guys take the time you need. We will potentially stay here till 6:30. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Mike, my name is Sean Bagabon. I'm a staff engineer with the Department of Water Resources. Mr. Michael, Mr. Pike, thank you for the compliments paid to DREAMS. We don't get those quite often. So.
That's what you wanted to say.
That was all. Mr. Pike talked about common understanding and cooperation, and that's the spirit I'm here to promote. There are comments in the DPC's Economic Sustainability Plan about DREAMS Phase 2, and Dr. Michael talked about DREAMS Phase 2 a little bit, and I just wanted to make sure that we are on the same page here. And again, we're happy to meet with your staff to set these things straight. One of the things you mentioned, and I'm going to keep this short. I thought I had more time, but I'm going to summarize it. One of the things you mentioned was that we don't have seismically resistant levees in the scenarios that we are considering, or we had in the DREAMS Phase 2 report, the final report. That is actually not correct. Two of our trial scenarios have, I think, about 100 plus miles of seismically resistant levees in the armored pathway from DCC all the way to the pumps. And so the dual conveyance, which includes an isolated conveyance facility, and the regular pathway, armored pathway, both include seismically resistant levees. So the other point that I wanted to make is about the two versions of the report that Dr. Michael talked about. The first version from 2007 was a preliminary staff report. It was put together to form, the basis of our trial scenarios, and it went through the DREAMS steering committee and they accepted the four trial scenarios that ended up in the final report that was released in June 2011. So going back and forth between the preliminary report and the final report seems improper. I think the issue that Dr. Michael and Dr. Pike brought up was, why is it that the improved levee scenario, which included resistant levees, does not appear in the final version? Well, it actually does. In the final version, we have four trial scenarios. The first one is the improved levees that does not have any resistant levees, and we put that in there to sort of as a bookend and to give folks a range of alternatives or scenarios in this case, and the range of costs. The other reason why we put that in there was to be able to show what the impact of seismicity would be on that particular scenario and the other ones. Obviously, improved levees without the improved levee scenario without seismically resistant levees does not offer any protection against earthquakes, and there goes the water supply reliability. The other three scenarios all include upgraded levees to PL 8499, upgraded raised highways, and also seismically resistant levees. So as far as cost benefits, the other point that I wanted to make is we didn't use cost-benefit ratios in the report because we thought it would be improper to do that. We have costs and we have benefits in terms of risk reduction in terms of dollars, but we don't have cost-benefit ratios. As the plan, the report is a conceptual report. It's extremely high level. This morning, Michael Mirzwa was talking about the different levels of the studies that we have, and this is even higher than the highest one that he had, which is a reconnaissance. So when you get down to a feasibility study level or a project study level, then it's appropriate to use ratios. In this case, the ratio has to be taken into context. So when Dr. Michael says improved levy scenario from the preliminary report that wasn't public is the best alternative, or shows the best benefit cost ratio, you have to put that into the context that it does not protect against seismic activity or an earthquake. So again, those were just a few points that I wanted to make. I had more here, but I'd be, the department is happy to discuss all this with DPC staff at a later time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Don.
Doctor, before you, I want to be clear about this thing you say wasn't public. It kind of sounds like there was some document that wasn't supposed to be seen. My understanding that the information was obtained on either a public website or public information. So if it's not public, I understand it's not published to be the final report. That's clear. But when you say something's not public, well, it's like nobody's supposed to have seen that. It doesn't count. I'm not so sure that's the case. And so if you could just characterize, at least from your perspective and the department's perspective, when you say something's not public, what does that mean?
I'm sorry, I misspoke. What I meant to say was that this was a staff-level preliminary report that got the ball basically started rolling. And it went through the DREAM steering committee, which included federal agencies, state agencies, Delta interests, and a number of academics.
So it was a work in progress.
It was a work in progress, absolutely. As far as being public, it was distributed among the steering committee members. But once we made the determination of which trial scenarios we were going to analyze and run through the model that was developed in DREAM's phase 1, it wasn't. It just didn't. It wouldn't be reasonable to consider anything from that preliminary report. That's why we cautioned, or we caveated the information that we sent to Dr. Michael that this was preliminary. It was for their use to come up with. I'm not quite sure what they were working on at the time. But, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.